Welcome back to the KIX 96.5 Morning Show. We love featuring artists you should know about. And today we're heading to Arizona to chat with singer-songwriter John Coinman. John lives in Tucson. He's recorded 6 solo albums along with several award-winning music videos. He's also a founding member of the Kevin Costner and Modern West Band. He's recorded 5 albums with them. His latest single and video is for Find That Girl. We're excited to have John Coinman on the show. First, John, thanks so much for coming on. You were the musical man for Dances with Wolves, the movie. It came out in 1990. You were the musical supervisor for the movie. So is that what you were doing with your life in 1990? Tell us, John.
That's going to take a lot more than 15 minutes. I'll cover it pretty quickly. I had moved to L.A. in 1980, and from San Francisco, I'd spent 10 years in San Francisco, and went to L.A. to kind of further my music career. And it was there that I met Kevin Costner, and when we were both in an acting workshop and working in made a movie together. And he wanted to be he was an actor who wanted to be a musician, and I was a musician who wanted to be an actor. So our lives dovetailed, and we made a record together. And then after that, he asked, when he started making Dances with Wolves, he asked me to come along and help manage the music, because there were a lot of different chores, like some of the Native American music that needed to be put in. He needed someone to navigate it, and he didn't have a Native American friend to do that, so I helped with that and helped find a composer, John Barry, and did a whole bunch of other things along. I spent a lot of time out on the set filming with them and doing playback and stuff. So that's the upshot of it, and it was a great experience.
Oh, yeah. So you and Kevin did an album before Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
What was that called?
It was called Roving Boy, The Simple Truth. Yeah, we formed a band and got a small record deal with Tokuma Records in Japan, and went over there to promote it, and then it's never released here in the States officially. But it was we had a #1 single in Japan. Nobody knows about it.
Wow.
But and then at that stage, Roving Boy was the name of the band, and it was named after a famous racehorse. And it was about that time that Kevin had 3 kids. He had a beautiful wife, and he had a burgeoning movie career that was just going off the charts, and just didn't have time to keep the band going. So the band went by the wayside, but he and I remained friends, and we started working on, he asked me to come along with Dances with Wolves. So, and it was, at that point, it was a kind of a shoestring operation, because nobody thought that movie would do anything, or the concept of it, a Western, big sprawling Western about, American soldier and the Lakota tribe and out in the wilderness, and it became a laughingstock of Hollywood. They called it Kevin's Gate, after Heaven's Gate, which was a big failure.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were all he and a bunch of his friends, including me, worked on kind of a shoestring budget to make, and the rest is history.
Well, yeah, exactly. He had the last laugh for that one. That's for sure.
He had the last laugh, yes. And I would love to be in part of it, and as that being, in some kind of a small way, being my legacy as in addition to my songs that I write and music that I play, having that be part of my life has been remarkable.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
From a guy, I came from Clayton, New Mexico, and I'm a Great Plains kind of person also. I mean, you're further north than I am in Wyoming, but I grew up on the Kiowa grasslands along the Santa Fe Trail, out in New Mexico. So,
yeah,
for a guy to be, in a little town out there and wanting to be, loving Roy Orbison and all the other great early singers, and wanting to be one myself, to be able to have something like Dances with Wolves in my heart and in my memories is just a great thing.
Yeah. Well, I can hear Roy in your music. We'll talk a little bit more about that with John. But so did Kevin get the itch again, like in 06? Because 07, the first album with you guys came out.
It was actually the end of 04. I was doing a show out in L.A. and he asked his friend Tim Hochter, who's a good mutual friend of ours, go and asked me if I was interested in playing again. And I wasn't sure then. I had a little record deal with Corazon Records in Europe, and although I wasn't making much money, I was kind of happy with that. But we talked, and it was just it just seemed like something that wouldn't invest a lot of time and a lot of effort. The whole idea would be to build the band again together, with all original music, starting with my stuff, and I would find the players, and we already had Blair Forward, the guy that was in our first band, Roving Boy. It was Blair and Larry and I and a drummer, and so we got Blair along, and then got Teddy Morgan, who was playing with me and had produced my Songs from the Modern West album in 2004. And I started going out to L.A. a lot and rehearsing with Kevin, and writing with him and learning, teaching him a lot of my songs, and then we just began playing. And the whole concept originally was that we would just accompany him out on personal appearances, so he could, instead of just playing golf and eating food with people, he could do a concert. And so that's how it originated. And then we began to grow and expand, and we just had a lot of offers all over the world to play and record, and we just kind of took off. And we're still an unknown quantity among people, because people still go, Kevin Costner has a band? Yeah.
They know about you around here.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I continue to make my own records. As you mentioned, I've made 6 records, and I'm with the Creative and Dreams Music Network right now, Freddie Cannon, and have had a number of songs on the Heritage Chart in England, and developing a pretty strong fan base over there. And so, and it all works in tandem well with Kevin, because he's been so busy lately. We haven't been able to play a whole lot. As you mentioned, we played in Jackson last year, those 2 shows, and then we went and played in Denver, and after that, and then we have a lot of offers to play this year. But Kevin he's releasing the first 2 Horizon movies.
Yeah.
The first one's out at the very end of June, going into the 4th of July weekend, and then, which is a 3-hour incredible movie. And then the second installment, another 3-hour movie, will be released in later in the summer or early fall. And then he's got 2 more in the oven.
Wow.
that he's working on. Plus, they've been trying to get him to finish up a season at Yellowstone, and he's not. He's still. I keep getting mixed signals. I don't think anything's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We'll have to wait and see.
but in the meantime, the band is still together, and we all love to get together and play. And I have the rhythm section of the band is right here in Tucson. It's me and Blair Forward and Larry Cobb, the drummer, and we have a band here. And I do a few local shows a year and some solo things, and keep my music videos going and songs with Freddie Cannon and Rose Drake out with the Creative and Dreams Network out of Nashville. And Find That Girl is the latest, and as you probably saw it stalled at number 12 in the Heritage chart.
Yeah.
And it went back to 17. But I'm in terms of the Heritage chart, I'm still sort of a new artist, and it's going to take a while to build up more of a fan base, but I'm really happy doing that and working with Freddie and Rose at Creative and Dreams, and just continuing to work and put out new things, and also I've got a lot of older songs that are kind of timeless, like To Find That Girl is not a brand new song. It's a song I've had around for a while, and it kind of but nobody's really heard it very much, and it's got a lot of my I grew up in the 60s, and it's got a lot of 60s in it. It's got the 12 string, and it's got a little bit of that melody structure from back then, and so there's a lot of stuff I have that nobody's heard before that is still fresh and, I think anyway, kind of timeless. And so some of that's coming out, and then there's some new things. And so anyway, I wanted to tell you how appreciative I am of you putting it on your station and having me on to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. No, we appreciate you coming on. You go check out John Coinman. He's at johncoinman.com, and he also says creativeanddreams.com. And if you go to creativeanddreams.com, scroll down a little bit, John's listed second on there. If you click on that, you can listen to a couple of his albums, a couple of his songs. There's a couple of music videos on there. He's got a best of John Coinman that's just amazing. A lot of great songs on there. Down in Nogales, awesome. But
thank you.
One thing, John, your tribute to Geronimo that I saw, Once I Move Like the Wind, this was back 10, 15 years ago, but it featured John Densmore, which I'm a huge Doors fan. You said you grew up in the 60s, so you had to be a huge Doors fan. How sweet was that?
It was great. It was great because I never knew John back then, but John and I got together with Michael Blake, who's an old friend of mine, who was the guy who wrote Dances with Wolves, and we put together a show called Horses and Drums, which was raising money for wild horse preservation, and did a few shows. And I hadn't met John up until then, but John and I really connected when we met, and had a lot of music, of course. A lot of musical, history, being the same kind from the same kind of period, and so anyway, we worked together. He produced a demo of mine, and nothing really happened with it, but we became friends and have done a number of things together. And one of them was he came out and he played with me. Played another benefit here in Tucson for wild horses. And that was where we filmed that Once I Moved Like the Wind with him playing.
Yeah.
So it's been a great friendship and a musical companion.
Yeah. Is
and
he
once
down
I
in
moved
Arizona?
No, he's in L.A. He lives in Santa Monica. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty sweet. And what's your deal with Geronimo? Because you even have the song "Even Geronimo Surrendered."
Well, I don't know. I'm a Southwestern guy, and I'm really interested in I'm really interested in the Native American nations. I've always have been.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm in fact reading all of Edward Curtis's 20 volumes on the North American American Indian. So I've always been, interested in that. And when Joe Anderson and I got married 37 years ago, we took our honeymoon in the Gila Wilderness, which was Geronimo's homeland, where he was born and raised as a kid. And so I've been going out there at the Gila Wilderness for half of my life now, every year to camp. And in that big valley there, just before you go into the Gila cliff dwellings, the big valley is where Geronimo was raised as a kid. And
Wow.
and so, yeah, I've resonated with him and his story. And once I moved like the wind, that song about Geronimo as an old man, that title was taken from a wonderful book on the Hickory Apaches, called "Once I Moved Like the Wind," and it was a story of Geronimo and his Apache Nation.
Yeah.
So, and then even Geronimo Surrendered is a song about my dad dying.
Okay. Yeah, and Joe, I was going to ask you who Joe was. It's your wife, because you and her collaborate on a lot of your music videos.
Yeah, and we still do, yeah.
Yeah, because Long Way From Home, this thing's won a ton of awards. It's sweet. You guys hooked up with this photographer, Michael Hyatt, for the video?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, he's a friend. He's another friend that, refugee from the Los Angeles days. He lives out here in Arizona and goes along the border. Some of the organizations that help support leave water around for people crossing the desert, and he's taken a lot of photographs of that. We teamed up, and because it seemed like a good marriage for that song, and in that case. And Michael Hyatt is also he's an LA photographer. He was there in the late 70s and 80s, and was one of the great photographers documenting the punk music era in that period of time in Los Angeles, and with John Doe and X and Exene,
Nice, yeah.
and all of those folks. So now he's out, still working.
Wow. Because how long were you in L.A.? Or how long you been in Arizona now? Quite a while, or?
I moved here in '94.
Okay.
But I moved to L.A. and I spent the '70s in San Francisco,
Wow.
building bands, and then I went to L.A. in 1980 and lived there 13 years, and then finally left, and it just got to be a little too much. We had a son who was born in '89, and we didn't really have a lot of money, and we were living in kind of some of the poorer districts there, and there's just a lot of gang stuff going on. So we decided to. Tucson was always the second home to me because of my grandparents homesteaded out here, and I used to come out as a kid. So we just decided to move to Tucson and pursue our art, music and art here.
Yeah. San Francisco in the 70s. Were you a Dead fan?
No.
No?
No. They were a little too jazzy for me. I was more of a I don't know. I kind of existed between a lot of different worlds musically out there, but I did like them, but I wasn't like so many people out there.
Yeah.
Huge Dead fan.
Yeah, you weren't a Deadhead following them around at all.
No.
But that had to be amazing times in San Francisco in the 70s. Go check out John. He's at johncoinman.com. He's on Facebook. His brand new single, his single out right now, Find That Girl, you're going to hear here in just a minute, or go to creativeanddreams.com and click on his name, and you can listen to a bunch of stuff from John. I saw you were harvesting the octopus agave. We're in Wyoming. We don't see this, John. What is this, a fruit? This is like a 12-foot high cactus he has. I don't know if this is in your yard. Tell us this.
It's in my yard, yeah, and you can see it on Facebook if you go to John Coinman.
Yeah.
Facebook. I've got a post a few days ago. It's actually 15 feet high. I'm looking at it right now. And agave, the regular agave that you all are familiar with, is the blue agave, in which they harvest they make all the wonderful tequilas from that. The octopus agave is a more fragile, delicate agave. It has the same kind of shape in general, but it looks more like it has tentacles and beautiful angles to it than the kind of the massive, heavy leaves of a blue agave. And this began about a month and a half ago, for the first time ever. And once they sprout, once they bloom, they die. But it started out and grew. The stem coming up that you can see as I trace it on my Facebook video, it grew a foot to 2 feet a day. It was just unbelievable, and it's loaded with bees, with all the flowers going up to the stem, and it's still growing. It's at least 15 feet high right now.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
Man, so are you going to eat it?
No. No, I'm just going to let it bloom and die.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man, it's a pretty amazing cactus. Go and check it out on his Facebook page. So since you talked about Horizon and American Saga, the new movie from Kevin Costner, I imagine, have you seen this, John?
I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but I'm in it. I've got a small role in it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I've got some music in it. There's at the beginning part of it, within I think the first half hour or so, there's a transition scene going from one period of time to another, and I have a harmonica piece in there that lasts for about a minute. It's a kind of I say it's a beautiful little piece. Of course, I wrote it, so. But anyway, it's a kind of a lonely harmonica thing, and I actually play it in the little town there. But it's a nice little piece there, and then so yeah, I've seen a lot of it. I haven't seen the whole thing because it just isn't available for us right now. But I'll be there for the premiere. I think it's going to be in the late June when that happens, and I'll be honored to be part of it because Kevin worked really hard on it, and Horizon, an American Saga, is a script that he's had around for 15 years, and nobody, even with his credentials, he could not get it funded in the way he wanted to, and so he finally developed this kind of a hybrid concept of not doing the video thing that a lot of people do, and not doing just a movie release, but releasing 4 3-hour films, and as if it were like a serial, like you'd see a limited series on TV and Netflix, except these are 4 3-hour movies involving. I mean, you can't believe the footage in it is just astounding. Yeah. It's just and the acting. Kevin has always been known as the actor's director because he's such a great actor himself, and he really knows how to work with actors and actresses to bring out the best in them. And he's got this amazing energy level. He's got an amazing sense of space and time in film. He's just a pretty amazing guy, and he's stuck with it all these years. Had this vision to make Horizon, and finally got it made, and so he's pretty busy right now.
Yeah, he's a little busy right now. He's got a few things going on. 4 3-hour movies. That's incredible. Yeah, what I've seen, it looks amazing. So I can't wait until it comes out. Find that girl. Who's in the video?
Oh, that's a good friend of mine that I've written a lot of songs with. Her name's Alana Sweetwater.
Okay.
And she's a Tucson singer-songwriter, but living in Los Angeles right now, and still pursuing her career. And so she and I started writing songs together many years ago, and still stay in touch and still do a little writing together. But so it just she was out here in Tucson for a while. It just worked out to film her, and she's so beautiful, and she's so talented. She's such a great singer-songwriter. People should check her out. You can go to Facebook and go to Alana Sweetwater and find her. And so she's a remarkable singer-songwriter. I hope people can listen to her too.
Yeah, we'll have to go and check her out, because you like writing with other people.
Well, I used to not like it. I mean, it was like pulling teeth to get me to write with people. In the 70s, or in the 80s, when I went to L.A., I had a deal with United Artists because they liked some of the songs that I wrote, and they tried to get me to write with people, and I just didn't like it. And so it took me many years to learn to do that, and now I really enjoy it. Collaborating in the band, we collaborate a lot with, particularly with Teddy Morgan, Park Chisholm, the two guitar players, and me and Kevin. We've written a lot of songs together, and Blair Forward, the guy that the bass player that I play with, is also a real talented songwriter, and he and I have written a lot of songs together of a different kind. They're a little more eclectic, but yeah, I learned to write with people, and that was great because I always thought of myself as like a Bob Dylan type. I don't need to write with anybody. I have my own thing going, and even though I was not a Bob Dylan, and I was not some famous guy, roaming around the country writing wonderful songs, I was a struggling blue-collar type of songwriter, trying to find the right music and struggling and working hard at writing songs hours upon hours every day, and just trying to hone my craft, being a, reasonably good guitar player, and just trying,
trying to survive.
Trying to survive.
Man, well, go and check him out. He's got a lot of awesome songs. He's done it. John Coinman. He's at johncoinman.com. Go to creativeanddreams.com, and you can listen to a bunch of his stuff. Go and check out his videos. Awesome stuff by John Coinman. John, thanks so much for coming on. We could talk for another hour.
We could, Jeff. I appreciate this. And thanks for having me on, and good luck with everything up there, and I hope to see you sometime soon.
For sure. It's John Coinman. It's Find That Girl. It's KIX 96.5.